Hello everyone. In this video, we will read about chemical properties of metals and non-metals. First, we take this topic, reaction of metals and non-metals with oxygen. To understand this thing that metals react with oxygen to form oxides, and metal oxides are basic in nature. We will do an activity. To do this activity, we will take magnesium ribbon. Magnesium ribbon it is available in our laboratories. We can take a piece of that magnesium ribbon, and before starting burning, we will first clean it up with the sandpaper. We have to clean it up with sandpaper because the layer of metal oxide which is already found on this magnesium ribbon, it has to be removed, otherwise it will work as a barrier while burning the magnesium ribbon. So first of all we will clean it. After that we will try to burn this magnesium ribbon. It will take some time, few seconds. After that it will start burning with a dazzling flame, white flame, in the same manner as you fire the crackers. तो जो स्मॉल क्रैकर जो आप जलाते हैं उन्हीं की तरह से ये जो है वो वाइट डेज़लिंग फ्लेम के साथ जो है वो मैग्नीशियम रिबन जलना स्टार्ट हो जाता है. नाउ a white ash is formed after burning of the magnesium ribbon. We will collect this white ash in a battery dish or watch glass, and we will add some water to it, and after that we will try to dissolve it. Though it will not dissolve completely, but sparingly it will be soluble. So we will get magnesium hydroxide. With the help of this reaction we can understand the magnesium on burning with a dazzling flame, it will produce magnesium oxide, and this magnesium oxide is basic in nature. To understand this thing, we will dissolve it in water and we will get magnesium hydroxide. This is a base. Now we will do a litmus test. Litmus test जो होता है हम लोग बेस के लिए जब करते हैं, then we will take रेड लिटमस पेपर. और जब हम इसमें रेड लिटमस पेपर जो होता है इस सॉल्यूशन में डीप करते हैं, then you will observe that the color of the red litmus paper has been converted or turns into blue. It shows that the magnesium hydroxide which is formed, it is basic in nature. Now the next we talk about sodium. Sodium, potassium, these are highly reactive metals, and we have to keep them under kerosene to prevent their contact with air, because when these metals are exposed to air at room temperature only, these react with oxygen to form sodium oxide. If potassium react, it will form potassium oxide like this. Now next is zinc. Where zinc does not react with oxygen at room temperature, but when zinc is heated strongly, then it will react with oxygen and zinc oxide will form. If we talk about noble metals, this is gold, silver, these do not react easily with oxygen, so these are called non-reactive or noble metals. Now all these metal oxides जिनकी हम बात कर रहे हैं, these are basic in nature. Now we talk about reaction of non-metals with oxygen. To understand it, we take an example of reaction of sulfur with oxygen. To do it, we will do an activity, और इसको करने के लिए in S1 it is in the picture. In that spoon we will take sulfur powder. We will start burning that sulfur with the help of a matchstick. As it starts burning, immediately we will put that spoon inside the gas jar in which oxygen gas is there. Now this sulfur will react with this oxygen and it will form sulfur dioxide as it is shown here. Now after when the sulfur powder has been completely burned, we will immediately open the lid, or slightly open the lid of the gas jar, and we will pour some water in it and shake it well. Now this sulfur dioxide gas will mix well with this water, and sulfurous acid H2SO3 will be formed. And this sulfuric acid, इसका अगर हम लिटमस टेस्ट करते हैं, it will turn blue litmus into red. That means it is acidic in nature. Now, if we take some more example of some other non-metals like carbon. Carbon when react with oxygen will form carbon dioxide, and on reacting with water it will form carbonic acid, okay, which is acidic in nature. But it is not always so that all non-metals form acidic oxides only, because there are some non-metals which can form neutral oxides also. For example, we talk about nitrogen. When nitrogen react with oxygen, it form nitrous oxide N2O, which is neutral in nature. Okay, so here, as you are seeing here in this picture, some non-metals which form acidic oxides, while some are there which will form neutral oxides. Here in this table all the examples are given. Now next topic is reaction of metals with water. Here one thing we have to understand that when metals react with cold water, they produce metal hydroxides, hydrogen and Eg bond. But if metals do not react with hot water, because those metals which are highly reactive like sodium, potassium, they can react with cold water. But some metals which can react with hot water or boiling water, and while some metals can react only with steam. Some metals which are less reactive than hydrogen in the reactivity series, they even do not react with steam also, like copper and gold, silver, platinum, etc. They even do not react with steam. So those metals which react with hot water or steam, they will produce metal oxide, and hydrogen gas will be displaced from the water molecules. Now, first we take the example of sodium metal, and to understand how the sodium metal react with water, we will do an activity. इसको करने के लिए first we will take out a piece of sodium metal from the kerosene. We will wipe it out properly with the help of filter paper to remove the kerosene from over of it. Now we will put that sodium metal piece on water. When it will come in contact with water, they in this manner it will react. जैसे ये potassium के साथ reaction होंगे, in the same manner we can write this reaction with sodium also. In place of this potassium K, we can write Na, that is sodium. So here sodium will also react like this only. So here sodium hydroxide will formed, and you will observe that sodium metal जो होता है इसमें hissing sound के साथ जो है कुछ bubbles बाहर निकलते हैं. Sodium metal जो होता है it has been taken the shape of the round shape ले लेता है, और धीरे धीरे जो है ये मेल्ट होना स्टार्ट हो जाता है. और क्यों मेल्ट होना स्टार्ट होता है? बिकॉज इन दिस रिएक्शन हीट एनर्जी इज प्रोड्यूस्ड, एंड दैट्स व्हाई दिस सोडियम मेटल विल स्टार्ट melting here, and the gas which is produced, it is hydrogen, and on heating this hydrogen gas immediate catches the fire and it will start burning. और जैसे ही जो सोडियम मेटल्स होते हैं it will that will also start burning, और वो जो है वो जलने लगता है और वो completely जो है वो खत्म हो जाता है. Now we will test that solution. जो solution हमें इस रिएक्शन के बाद उस कंटेनर में जो है वो जो solution मिला है, we will test it with the help of litmus paper. We will take both type of litmus paper, red and blue. We will observe that there is no effect on the blue litmus paper, but the red litmus paper turns into blue. This shows that the solution is basic in nature, and the reaction as you are seeing here in the picture sodium जो होता है water के साथ react करता है, sodium hydroxide will form, the hydrogen gas will be evolved and heat energy will be evolved. Now the same reaction we can understand with potassium as well. Potassium जो cold water से react करता है, potassium hydroxide will be formed, hydrogen gas will be evolved and heat energy will be evolved. But magnesium will not react with cold water. It require boiling or hot water here for the reaction, and magnesium oxide will be formed, which is basic in nature. Now, if we talk about zinc, it does not react either with cold or hot water, but steam is required for the reaction of zinc with water, and that's why zinc will react with steam and zinc oxide and hydrogen gas will be involved. But the metals which are very less reactive, actually they are less reactive than hydrogen. तो वो जो है वो वाटर के साथ इवन विद स्टीम ऑल्सो दे विल नॉट रिएक्ट एट ऑल. ओके, एंड नाउ नॉन इफ यू टॉक अबाउट नॉन मेटल्स, नॉन मेटल डू नॉट रिएक्ट विद वाटर एट ऑल, इवन विद स्टीम ऑल्सो नॉन मेटल्स डू नॉट रिएक्ट. नाउ हियर इन दिस पिक्चर टेबल इज गिवन, और इस टेबल में जो है वो आपको रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज दिखाई गई है. हियर व्हाट इज दिस रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज और एक्टिविटी सीरीज? इट इज सीरीज ऑफ मेटल्स एक्चुअली. इसके अंदर जो है वो जो भी जो मेटल्स हैं उनको उनके रिएक्टिविटी के डिक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर में जो है, जैसे ऊपर से नीचे की तरफ हम जाता है तो उसके रिएक्टिविटी के डिक्रीजिंग ऑर्डर में इनको अरेंज किया गया है. सो दिस इज व्हाट इज रिएक्टिविटी सीरीज एक्चुअली? दिस इज द अरेंजमेंट ऑफ मेटल्स इन अ वर्टिकल कॉलम in the order of decreasing reactivities is called the reactivity series or activity series of metals. And this reactivity series help us that which metal can displace which metal. And जो high reactive metals होते हैं they can displace the less reactive metal from the compounds in a chemical reaction. Now our next topic is reaction of metals with acids. When metals react with acid, they displaces out hydrogen gas from the acids and form the respective salt of that metal. और जो एसिड बन लेते हैं उसके साथ, फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ यू टेक सल्फ्यूरिक एसिड then the salt will be sulfate. If we take hydrochloric acid then the salt will be chlorides. Now when zinc granules, we take some zinc granules in a test tube, and when we add some dilute sulfuric acid to it, we will observe that immediate some bubbles will come out from this test tube. उस टेस्ट ट्यूब में से जो बबल्स बाहर आए, एट द टॉप ऑफ दिस टेस्ट ट्यूब, उसके माउथ के पास अगर आप एक बर्निंग कैंडल लेकर के आते हैं, देन this gas will burn with a pop sound. So it proves that the gas which is evolving out, it is hydrogen gas. Dilute sulfuric acid, and these are zinc granules. And the gas will evolve out. It is hydrogen gas which burn with sound. जब आप इसके पास एक burning कैंडल को लेकर के जाते हैं. Now the same reaction can occur with the magnesium, though it takes time, but magnesium also reacts with the sulfuric acid and produces the magnesium sulfate and hydrogen gas. Now to understand this thing, that whether all metals can react with acid and non-metals in the same manner can also react with acid or not, to understand this thing we can do an activity. For doing this activity, as you are seeing here in the picture, we will take different 6 test tubes, and in these different test tubes we will take dilute hydrochloric acid in all these test tubes, and we will pour different metals and non-metals as sample pieces in these test tubes. For example, in the first test tube we will put a magnesium B1, then in the second aluminum foil, then iron nail. After that, in fourth test tube we will put copper wire, and in the fifth coal piece, and in the sixth sulfur powder. Now we will observe the reaction of all these with the hydrochloric acid, that hydrogen gas is evolved or not, and we can test of hydrogen gas with the burn test. In the burn test, hydrogen gas will burn with pop sound, and it proves that hydrogen gas is evolving or not. Okay. Now when in the hydrochloric acid magnesium B1 was taken, magnesium chloride will form and hydrogen gas is evolved. If aluminum foil was taken, then aluminum chloride was formed and hydrogen gas was evolved. And with iron, FeCl2 will be formed and hydrogen gas will be evolved. But with the copper wire, no reaction is there. And if we talk about in the same manner, अगर हम जो है वो नॉन मेटल्स की बात करते हैं, जैसे कोल पीस है, सल्फर पाउडर, देन ऑल्सो नो हाइड्रोजन गैस इज इवॉल्व, दैट मीन्स नो रिएक्शन इज अकर. क्यों? क्योंकि दीज आर नॉट रिएक्टिव मच रिएक्टिव देन हाइड्रोजन गैस, सो दे कैन नॉट डिस्प्लेस द हाइड्रोजन गैस फ्रॉम द acids. Now next topic is reaction of metals with bases. Metals when react with base they form salt and hydrogen gas is displaced as the reaction of metals occur with the acids. And to understand it we can do an activity, and to do this activity we will take some sodium hydroxide pellets and in a test tube, and we will add some water to it and shake it well. Now fresh sodium hydroxide solution has been prepared. Now we will put aluminum foil in that solution. We will observe some bubbles are oozing out from the aluminum foil, and when we bring burning matchstick or burning candle near to the mouth of the test tube, the gas which is evolving out from the solution, that is sodium hydroxide gas particle, it is going to burn with pop sound. This proves that the evolving gas is hydrogen gas. So it proves that with the bases also metals can displace hydrogen gas from the bases. Now if we talk about non-metals, though non-metals also react with bases to some extent, but it is out of syllabus for you, that's why we are not going to study it in detail here. Now we take the next topic, that is displacement reaction, and it is very important topic, and it is based on the reactivity series also. As I told you in the reactivity series that the more reactive metals displaces less reactive metals from the compounds. To understand it we can do an activity, and for doing this activity we will take an test tube, and in it we will take a copper sulfate solution. As you see here in the picture, the color of the copper sulfate solution is blue, and now we will put a iron nail in it. We will keep this iron nail here in this manner, that some part of the iron nail is out of the solution. In the solution से थोड़ा सा बाहर निकला है. Now after few minutes we will observe that the color of the solution is going to be fat. जो ब्लू कलर था वो धीरे धीरे जो है वो ग्रीन होने लगता है, and the color of the iron nail is going to be reddish brown, and it is due to the deposition of copper particles on iron nail. And why the color of the copper sulfate solution turns from blue to green? Because ferrous sulfate has been formed here like this reaction, because iron will displaces copper from the copper sulfate solution, and ferrous sulfate, which is green in color, this solution will be formed, and this copper will get deposit on iron nail. That's why the color of the iron nail turns into reddish brown. Now if we repeat this activity with other metals like zinc, magnesium, etc., then also they will displace the copper, because copper is less reactive than zinc and magnesium. Now if we take in place of copper sulfate, if we take ferrous sulfate, and we will make a reaction of ferrous sulfate with zinc granules or zinc metal, then zinc sulfate will be formed and iron will come out, because here iron is less reactive than zinc. So it depends on that if more reactive metal is reacting with any compound in which less reactive metal was involved, then the less reactive metal will be displaced by more reactive metal, and this is shown by displacement reaction. Now most of the non-metals do not show displacement reaction, but some more reactive non-metals displaces some less reactive non-metals, as it is shown in this reaction. Here chlorine is more reactive than bromine, so it displaces the bromine out, and potassium chloride will be formed. So this is all for the chemical reaction of metals and non-metals. Now here I am sharing one picture in the tabular form with you, and here the uses of metals and non-metals are shown. So here first table we show the uses of different metals like copper, iron, aluminium, gold and silver, platinum, lead, chromium, zinc. These all are given. Now in the another table we show the uses of non-metals. Here the uses of carbon, which is really very useful, and other non-metal like sulfur, iodine, oxygen, phosphorus, nitrogen, chlorine, hydrogen, etc. is given. Now our next topic is corrosion of metals. What is corrosion? Corrosion का मतलब होता है metals जो होते हैं due to the action of air, moisture or any other chemical or any other gas, उसकी वजह से outermost layer of the metal will get corroded. वो बाहर से जो है खराब होने लगती है, and this is called corrosion. For example, rusting of iron, जो green color के हो जाते हैं copper utensils, blackening of the silver objects. एल्यूमिनियम के ऊपर जो है वो एल्यूमिनियम ऑक्साइड का एक जो है थिन वाइट लेयर बन जाता है पाउडरीज, एंड सच टाइप ऑफ things or reactions occur with the different metals in different manners. This is called corrosion of metal. First of all, we talk about the rusting of iron. You know that when iron objects get ऑक्सीजन एंड वाटर बोथ टुगेदर, तो वो जो है वो मोस्ट एयर जब उनको एक साथ मिलती है ऑक्सीजन एंड वाटर फ्रॉम द दिस इज ऑल्सो कॉल्ड फ्रॉम डैम एयर, तो इससे जो आयरन ऑब्जेक्ट्स होते हैं दे कैन गेट रस्टेड वेल. इसको समझने के लिए हम एक एक्टिविटी भी करते हैं. इन दिस एक्टिविटी वी कैन टेक 3 टेस्ट ट्यूब्स, और इन तीनों टेस्ट ट्यूब्स में अंदर एक टेस्ट ट्यूब में तीनों में हमने आयरन नेल रखा है. In the first test tube, only air is available to the iron nail. No water or moisture is there because entire moisture has been taken out. उसमें से जो है वो air में moisture बिल्कुल नहीं है, ड्राई एयर ही है. इन द सेकेंड आयरन नेल कम्प्लीटली वाटर के अंदर जो है वो डूबा हुआ है, उसको बिल्कुल भी एयर नहीं मिल रही. एंड इन द थर्ड आयरन नेल का हाफ पार्ट जो होता है वो पानी में डूबा है, हाफ पार्ट जो होता है उसको एयर भी मिल रही है. दैट मीन्स दैट आयरन नेल इज गेटिंग बोथ वाटर एंड आयरन. तो इस टाइप उसको मॉइस्चर भी मिल रही है, उसको जो है वो एयर भी मिल रही है, ऑक्सीजन भी मिल रही है. इन दिस मैनर व्हाट हैपन, इफ यू ऑब्जर्व द कंडीशन ऑफ ऑल द 3 आयरन नेल्स, वी विल ऑब्जर्व दैट the iron nail which is kept in the third test tube, it has been rusted. और अदर जो टेस्ट ट्यूब था उसमें रस्टिंग नहीं हुई, बिकॉज आयरन गेट्स रस्टेड ओनली व्हेन इट गेट मोइस्ट एयर. तो मोइस्ट एयर जब मतलब उसको ऑक्सीजन और वाटर दोनों ही मिलता है, देन ओनली इट विल गेट रस्टेड. और उसके ऊपर जो है एक रेडिश ब्राउन कलर का जो है वो वाइट पाउडर, रेडिश ब्राउन कलर का पाउडर जो होता है उसके ऊपर एपियर होने लगता है, एंड दैट आयरन ऑब्जेक्ट विल बी डैमेज. धीरे धीरे करके टुकड़े टुकड़े में उसमें गिरने लग जाता है. सो दिस इज called hydrated iron oxide, and which is actually rust. So now the second we take the example of copper. Copper metal जो होता है it also get corroded due to what? Due to this moist air in which not only oxygen and water but carbon dioxide gas is also available. Then in the presence of all these 3 कॉपर यूटेंसिल्स जो होते हैं वो बाहर से जो है वो ग्रीनिश होने लगता है, उसके ऊपर एक ग्रीन कलर की कॉपर मेलेकाइट. द नेम ऑफ द कंपाउंड इज कॉपर मेलेकाइट, एंड विच इज एक्चुअली कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ दीज 2 कंपाउंड, कॉपर हाइड्रोक्साइड एंड कॉपर कार्बोनेट. तो कॉपर हाइड्रोक्साइड कॉपर कार्बोनेट के जो कंपाउंड्स होते हैं वो ग्रीन कोटिंग के रूप में कॉपर यूटेंसिल के ऊपर आपको जो है वो नजर आने लगते हैं. सो दिस in this manner copper utensils will get corroded. Where this is a base, and these are actually bases, and with the help of any source substance we can remove that greenish layer of from the copper utensils, because that acid will neutralize these bases from there. Now the third we talk about silver object. कहीं बहुत सारे जो silver objects जब बाहर पड़े थे when they come in contact with the open air, then what happen, they start going to be उनका जो uppermost जो layer होता है it will start blackening, वो काला पड़ने लग जाता है. Why it is so? Because the silver will react with the hydrogen sulfide present in the air and the black colored substance will be formed, that is silver sulfide. और वो उसकी वजह से आउटरमोस्ट लेयर्स होते हैं सिल्वर ऑब्जेक्ट्स की जो है वो क्या होगी, ब्लैक होने लग जाती है. नाउ दिस कोरोजन कैन डैमेज द डिफरेंट मेटल्स एज वेल. उससे बचने के लिए जो है वो हम अलग अलग जो है वो उपाय करते हैं, सो दैट वी कैन prevent corrosion. Now what are the measures by which we can prevent the measure? First of all by oiling, greasing और painting. इन सब से जो है वो हम रस्टिंग से जो है वो आयरन ऑब्जेक्ट्स को जो है वो बचा सकते हैं. देन आयरन ऑब्जेक्ट्स को बचाने का जो है वो एक दूसरा जो तरीका हम देखते हैं, इट इज़ ऑफ galvanization. And what is the galvanization? A thin layer of zinc is coated on iron objects to prevent from the corrosion or rusting. Then a layer of another metal is deposited on the surface of metal object by the process of electroplating. By the process of electroplating, एक मेटल को दूसरी मेटल की जो है वो लेयर चढ़ाई जा सकती है with the help of electroplating method. And here like chromium, polish, etc. which are done here. Next, a uniform protective layer of aluminum oxide is formed on the aluminum object by the process of anodizing. Some other metal or non-metal are mixed and with the metal objects by the process of alloying. Now, what is alloying? Alloying means क्या होता है, two or more than two metals and non-metals are mixed together to form another new metal, and this is called alloy. So it is actually a homogeneous mixture of two or more metals or non-metals along with some non-metal is known as alloy. Now characteristics and uses of alloy. First, alloys जो होते हैं generally hard होते हैं, and that's why iron when mixed with another non-metal that is कार्बन, उसके साथ जब इसको जो है वो आयरन को मिक्स किया जाता है, आयरन एंड कार्बन आर मिक्स, देन स्टील इज फॉर्म्ड एंड इट इज यूज्ड फॉर कंस्ट्रक्शन ऑफ शिप, ब्रिजेस एंड व्हीकल्स एक्सेट्रा. Then second thing, generally alloys are resistant to corrosion. That's why iron when mixed with chromium and nickel, stainless steel is formed, और जिसपे जो है वो जंग नहीं लगता, रस्टिंग नहीं होती. Now alloys have high tensile strength, और इसी वजह से जो होता है, फॉर एग्जांपल क्रोम स्टील इज एन एलॉय फॉर्म बाय मिक्सिंग आयरन एंड क्रोमियम, और इसकी ज़्यादा टेंसाइल स्ट्रेंथ के कारण जो होता है इट इज यूज्ड टू मेक एक्सेल, कटिंग टूल्स एक्सेट्रा. नाउ सम ऑफ द देन हैव लो मेल्टिंग पॉइंट. कुछ एलॉयज के लो मेल्टिंग पॉइंट होते हैं, फॉर एग्जांपल सोल्डर. सोल्डर इज एन एलॉय मेड बाय मिक्सिंग टिन विद lead, and it has lower melting point than tin and lead, and thus it is used for joining electrical wires. Now here in this table different properties as well as constituent elements and uses are of different alloys are given. So read all of you well later. First brass. Brass होता है, the brass is an alloy and the constituent elements are copper and zinc, and it is malleable, resistant to corrosion and strong, and used to make utensils, screw, bolt, nut, etc. Second is bronze, and the constituent elements are copper and tin, and it is highly resistant to corrosion and very strong, and it is used to make coins, statue, medal, etc. Then duralumin, it is very important alloy, and aluminium, copper, magnesium and manganese. These are its constituents, and it is strong and resistant to corrosion, light and ductile. Then making parts of automobile, pressure cooker, etc. Then German silver. German silver के constituents होते हैं copper, zinc, nickel, and it is resistant to corrosion. Science like silver and making resistant wires, electroplating में इस टाइप से कुछ utensils भी बनाने में इसमें काम नहीं होता है. In spite of that, there are some other alloys like tungsten, manganese, etc., which are also used for different electric purposes because they are resistant to high temperature as well. तो इस तरीके से जो है वो कई एलॉयज का जो है वो अलग अलग पर्पस जो है उस हिसाब से हम लोगों को काम में ले सकते हैं. सो दिस इज ऑल फॉर दिस चैप्टर. Thank you.